Hello friends, in this video we will discuss about creating objects in Java. So there are three ways to initialize an object: by reference variable, then by method, and then constructor. So I'll show one by one. So save it as say object underscore one dot class object scope one same as the file name, and this is a main class. So write public static void main. Public static void main. Indentation is not a necessary thing here. So the indentation is helpful to make the program more readable. Here we want to create object, but before going to discuss that, in the previous programs we have where we have printed hello world or taken command line arguments, there we did not have shown any object creation. Without creating object we can execute it, but also I have said that Java is object oriented programming. If Java has at least one class, and people to use or to access the data and the methods in the class, we have to create objects. But there is some exception when the method is static. Here in case of hello world, you can see that we did not have to create object because main is static. So if we want to execute it directly, just writing simple print statement, we can execute it because the main is static. Because static means without creating any object we can execute it. We can use that data or that method if the data or method is static. Now here we will create another class. The class, the name is student, and there are two variables, int roll number, int roll, another is a string name. Now we want to create object of this class. How to create object? The syntax is that first you have to write the class name. What is the name of the class? Name of the class is student. We want to create object of student class. So write the name of the class, student. Then write the name of the object you want to create. So the name is std. This is defined by the programmer. Std is the name of the object that has to be created. And new is the operator to create object. And this again student class name without any argument. This is not a method, this is less like method, but actually this is known as constructor. Constructor is nothing but a method, but is more powerful than a method. Constructor has the same name with the class name. You can see class name is student and constructor name is also student, but within this after student you can see these brackets. It means that this is not a method, this is rather a constructor. It is a default constructor. Now using this object, so using new operator we can create object of the student class, and the name of the object is std, and Java is strongly typed language, so std has to be specified. When we are declaring a new thing, the type has to be mentioned. So std has type, it is a class type because it is object, so it is class type. The class type is student. You have to write student. Okay, so in the next we can access roll number. So since we have created object, we can access the roll number. Roll initialize with say 1, and we want to access the name. So name, since name is a string, we have to use double quote. So I am giving my name, simple. Okay, so now print this thing, whether to check whether we can get the role and name variables by creating this object. Okay, so print std dot name, and we want to print also roll number std dot roll. So because we are concatenating multiple strings, we have to use plus operator. Okay, so save it and compile it. Java C, what is the file name? Object1. Tab, yes. Compiles fine. Java space object, class will be there. Sumanto Chakraborty 1. So this first one is for string, and you can see that name is a string. You can see the name, and then a space, and then roll number. So here I have shown how to create object by using reference variables role and name. Next, I will show another example to create object using methods. I want to change over it a new class, say anything, say okay, rectangle. So make it, take another variables, length and breadth, double length EPH breadth. Right. Okay, so define a method. So take the arguments double L comma double B. Now initialize length is a class variable with the value of the argument, that is the L is the argument of this method. Whatever the value will be passed to L, it will be stored in length rather. Breadth will store the value B. Okay, now here we want to create object of rectangle. So the syntax is name of the class, class type, then the name of the object, say name of the object is REC, whatever it can be of any value, XYZ REC. We can also write XYZ anything. So REC is I am using REC because to understand it. New, the new operator for creating object, then the constructor. Constructor means the method with the same name of the class name and no argument. This is a default constructor. Okay, so using rec, that is this object, rec object, we can access the variables length, breadth, or even the method. So I want to access the method get data. Get data. So I want to pass values like 10 comma say points, double values 20.5. So I am passing the values. Okay, so what will happen if I pass 10.50? It will be, so the value of L. So in this method 10.50 is being passed as an argument. So value of small l is 10.50 and it is stored in length. Similarly 20.50 is being passed as a second argument, so it will be stored in B and also it will be stored in breadth because breadth equal to B, so breadth will be now 20.50. So length is 10.50 and breadth is 20.50. So we can initialize it in this way, length and breadth. Now if we want to print the area, just simply write system.out.println, system.out.println, write area equal to space plus for concatenation rect dot length. I want to access this length variable. So how to access? Write the name of the object, then length. Only length will not work, it will show error. Using object we can access it. Star for multiplication, length times rect dot breadth. Okay, on to less. So compile it first because the program has been changed. Something one cannot find symbol rect dot get data. Okay, so get data is D capital. Now it's fine. So now, sorry, yes, execution is area, just only area equal to 215.25, whatever may be the result. Object can be created using constructor. I have already shown in the previous example. This object, object is being created. This object, actually every object is being created generally using default constructor. What is constructor? I have also mentioned constructor means the method with the same name of the class name and without any arguments. This is default constructor. Okay. Also, object can be created by using parameterized constructor. I'll show this example. Here object is being created using default constructor and initialized using method. In the previous example, object was created using default constructor but initialized with directly reference variables. Remember, roll number and name. Now in this program I will create object with parameterized constructor. In the first two programs I have created object with default constructor. Now I will create object with parameterized constructor. So here I will make the changes. Okay. Okay, you can also it's not necessary that every time you need to write a class. If we write another class, you have to create this object. Now I am writing these variables in the same class, string name. Okay. Now I'll create the constructor, parameterized constructor. Constructor will have the same name, the class name. Now parameterized constructor means, so first see an example of default constructor, how to create default constructor. Say anything, write anything, system.out.println. This is default constructor. This is default constructor, no argument. Okay. So write example default construct. So here create object as a, we want to show the working of default constructor. Create object of this object one. How to create object one, say ob is the name of the object, new is the operator, again write the name of the constructor, default constructor. Okay, here default constructor, we can see that default constructor is defined. In the previous cases the default constructor was not defined, just object was created. Now here object is, not only the object is created, also after creation it will print this statement also. I repeat, in the previous example we have created object using default constructor, but here also the using the default constructor object will be created, but since the default constructor now is defined, it will also print this statement, default constructor. So have a look into it, compile it first, is fine, then output is default constructor. Now here I will make it parameterized constructor. Parameterized means give the parameters here, say int r comma int it will be string say n. Okay, I want to comment, this is this two slashes forward slashes to suppress or comment out a line. This is not execute. Next, so role will be initialized with value passed as r. Whatever value passed in r will be stored in role. Similarly, whatever value passed in n will be stored in name. Now I will print system.println. So r plus give a space n. Okay, so here I have to pass the argument. So we have to pass arguments, otherwise it will show compilation error, because now constructor has been defined as parameterized constructor, but here we cannot create object using default constructor. So we have to pass arguments. First we can say roll number 1 comma xyz, the name. Okay, so now execute it, 1 xyz. Now one thing you can also check that we can use I have said that we cannot do this, we cannot create object within using default constructor, because no default constructor is now there. The constructor has been already defined. If the constructor was not defined, then you can use by default constructor, but since the constructor is defined and it is defined as parameterized constructor, you cannot use it. But also we can use the, this one will work fine if the default constructor is defined. You have to define default constructor, so whatever default constructor. Now you can create object with this. If we call this default constructor, if we create ob, if we create object ob using default constructor, then it will just print default constructor. And if we create another object, say I want to create another object ob2 new operator object 1 xyz. So two objects will be created. One is using the default constructor, another is using the parameterized constructor. Save it and compile it. First, execute it. You can see the first one. In case of first one, so creating with default constructor is being printed, default constructor is being printed, and then creating the new second object obj2 with parameterized constructor, and in parameterized constructor we are passing 1 and xyz and printing it. So 1 and xyz will be printed. In the next video, we will learn about how to take user inputs in Java. Thank you for watching the video.